So we'll move right into the RSD Statistics Report, which is Lisa. So Lisa, take away.
Thanks, Paul. I'm just going to do some of the RSD statistics. Next slide, please. The organization served by ARIN. You see that we have about almost 40% of the organizations are legacy organizations, and we have another 17%, which are member organizations. Those are organizations covered under Registration Services Plan. And then we have almost 43% that are our customer organizations or end user organizations. Next slide, please. Our IPv4 coverage under RSAs kind of stacks up like this. There's about 48% of our IPv4 is covered under a standard registration services agreement. We have about 12.5% covered under a legacy registration services agreement. And we still see that we have about 39% that is not covered under any agreement with ARIN at this time. Next slide. IPv4 RSA coverage, this is just over time to see how it's been going up for coverage. And we see that coverage under an RSA is increasing due mostly to transfers. And now we're seeing some increase because of IRR and RPKI coverage, just so that members can participate in those. Next slide, please. This is the waiting list since June 2015. We've seen a lot of big peaks and valleys, but we've noticed since the implementation of some of the new policies regarding the waiting list and the minimum of a /22 that could be issued, we're seeing a much steadier flow coming in, and people are actually willing to go onto the waiting list now, as opposed to back when there were almost 400 people on the waiting list. It seemed like nobody wanted to be there. Next slide, please. This is our IPv4 reserve pools for 4.4 critical infrastructure and 410 transition space. They look pretty healthy right now. I don't foresee a problem with them running out anytime soon. And I do know when we get space back that we're issued from either of these pools, either through revocation or voluntary return, that space goes back to the pool where it came from. Next slide, please. Under the coverage for IPv6 under Registration Services Plan, we see we have about almost 51% of users have IPv4 and IPv6. Those under Registration Services Plan that only have IPv6, there's only about 9%, but we need to remember those organizations may actually have IPv4 from their providers. And then we have another 40% that have only IPv4, but again, they may also have IPv6 from one of their providers. Next slide, please. And this is just the IPv6 networks created by year. This includes all the SWIPs that are created from all the ISPs as well. And we see we had a pretty big decline into 2020. We hope to see that go back up soon. Next slide, please. And these are just a few transfer statistics I thought we would share with you. It looks like we are starting to see a nice even pace now with tickets coming in. These are actually completed transfers by quarter. Previous years, we saw a lot of spikes, a lot of ups and downs, but it looks like it's starting to steady out. Next slide, please. And these are the number of /24s transferred by quarter. And I do apologize, I neglected to include anything that was transferred from other regions. And if memory serves, for third quarter 2020, we only received around 100 /24s from RIPE NCC and AP NIC combined. We have actually received our first transfer to come in from the LACNIC region, but that's not yet been completed. Next slide, please. And our registration services, offering a new chat service to any member that is logged into their ARIN Online account. We started offering this in April. We can see right around June and July, we had a pretty good spike of people coming in, and that would coincide with the release of our internet routing registry updates. We can just see that the number of contacts that we have or conversations that we have opposed to the number of visitors, that looks a little off, but that just means that we had multiple conversations from the same visitor or the same customer. And the conversations that we have are about 50% of the call volume that we typically get. So we've really increased our contact with our customers, which is great. And next slide, please. And that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you for that, Lisa. We have time for a few quick questions. And you also have the open microphone if you can't think of them now, but a few seconds here before we move into our routing security and services update by Mark Costers. Okay, looks like no questions, but Lisa will be around during the open microphone if you do think of it. Thank you very much, Lisa, for that presentation.
Thank you.